While others celebrate the wins,
Yes.
We celebrate the mud.
each episode has a special guest.
Tony-nominated actress, Broadway's Lily Cooper.
Tashir Zameda.
David A. Gregory.
Getting messy with muddy topics.
We are going to be talking about grief journey.
With hilarious moments
Now get over here.
And deep conversations.
I'm ashamed to even admit this, but this is what happened.
This is Into the Mud.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Into the Mud podcast. While others celebrate the wins.
We celebrate the mud.
Yes, you did it without laughing. So great. We are coming to you live from the Bower Room at the Mall in West Village.
I'm Alex Cuman.
And I'm Drew King.
And we have another little solo app coming
Just
at you today.
Two of us. Just the two
Make it.
That was actually my first, not the original song, but the cover that Will Smith did.
Smith.
That was my first CD, Big Willie
Style. The blue one.
Uh-huh.
Your first
Because it was Wild Wild West. It was just the two of us.
Yeah.
And then Miami.
Bienvenidos a
Party in the city where the
Miami.
heat is on.
Yeah.
All night on the streets
Till the break of dawn, I'm going to Miami. Welcome to Miami.
I can't believe that's in there.
Song lyrics will stay in there.
That's spooky. I haven't
Song
listened to that
lyrics will
since I was like on my
stay
Walkman.
in there with a big
I haven't listened to that
spoon.
song since I was straight. I sound like a smoker. Straight.
Straight.
I was
My
just like,
first
fuck
CD
yeah, girl. Then Will Smith. I always laugh at myself because my beard, like
Yeah.
when I was in middle school.
It's Will Smith.
No. It was J-Lo in the movie Anaconda.
The most masculine version of J-Lo.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna fucking kill this snake, and I was like,
And
she's
you're like,
so hot. Look at her in the
look at
look
the
at her in
tank
those
top.
safari pants, like.
That was
And of course, it was an anaconda, like a giant phallic animal, and I'm like, I love J-Lo.
Crush that anaconda.
My
That
anaconda don't want none if you
scene
ain't got buns, hun.
Where, what is it, Owen Wilson gets eaten whole.
Yeah.
And then you see him just like,
I want to go back and watch the CGI in that movie.
I think we should watch Anaconda together.
we should get stoned and watch Anaconda.
But that's actually a fun question, is what your first CD was.
Yeah, what was your
Mine
first CD?
was No Doubt Tragic Kingdom.
Oh, absolutely.
An absolute banger, ripper, head to toe, top to bottom. Not a bad song on that.
No, amazing.
I could probably still sing every song on that CD word for word. It is wild how the song lyrics will stay in.
Do you remember what your first cassette was? For those of you that know what cassettes are.
Whoa. I mean, I remember, I was a kid, so it was probably a lot of like Disney tunes.
Well, I think I'm thinking of like the first
Like
time
the
I
first
had a
thing you had to, like,
Walkman. I had a
buy.
Walkman that I was gifted on a birthday,
Yeah.
and then I like was able to put in a cassette and listen to music on my own that wasn't my parents, playing music on
Yeah.
the radio or something.
Do you know
like
what yours was?
I have a blurred memory of it. I had like for some reason it was like a greatest hits of the 90s. Like it was like
Like a
something like
now-
that.
like a
it
now
was,
something,
yeah, but
yeah.
it was a cassette version. And I vividly remember who sings I love you always forever near and far closer together everywhere. Donna Lewis.
Yeah.
Donna Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah, Donna Lewis was on there, and I remember like
You were
listening
like,
to that.
I'm straight.
Yeah, I'm so straight. And then the other cassette that I had, LOL, which is even straighter, was Madonna. So I don't know if there was any surprise from anyone in my family.
Your brothers are just listening to.
They're listening to literally like Metallica and 311 and like Limp Bizkit. And I'm like,
and you're like,
I don't even know the lyrics. Oh my God, Donna Lewis. I'm such a homo.
but we love you.
Yours was the wheels on the bus go round.
I was an actual child.
Wow. Now we're just shooting the shit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get into our muddy topic for today.
So we decided on a muddy topic that is certainly affecting me lately, and is like probably one of my number one most talked about themes in therapy is the fear of not being enough or getting muddy about never being enough in life.
This one I can't relate to.
Because you're fucking perfect.
I'm perfect.
Yeah.
100% of the time.
Uh-huh.
No, this comes up for me so hard. And I think...
Yeah, same for me, dude.
I think what's wild about it is that the way it manifests when you're growing up is like hyper and overachieving. So like good grades, class president, extracurriculars, sports, because you equate your worth with your output. You think that if I can be perfect, if I can do good, be good, seen as good by those around me, then that means that I'm good, rather than...
And you're loved and you're worthy.
And you're loved and you're worthy, rather than inherently believing that you are worthy, rather than waking up in the morning going, no matter what I do, I'm worthy of love and good things in life. You think instead that you're at this low point and you have to climb up to get it through a series of whatever. That's at least how it has manifested for me, or how I have learned that it's manifested for me in the last several years.
We've talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
On a few episodes about worthiness and feeling value and where does that come from.
Yeah.
And the ways that being a queer kid kind of made me feel othered and different. Well, that's certainly where my perfectionism tendencies come from. Is thinking that if I can just do the thing perfectly, then I'm worthy, then I'm valid, I'm valued, I'm good enough.
Yeah. Do you ever feel good enough in anything or
fuck no.
Nothing.
Rarely. I mean, I have moments of it. It's
when
interesting.
Do you feel it? When do you feel at the top of your game?
It's a hard question to answer. Just because I live in such a natural, my like status quo is self-deprecation.
Yeah.
But when do I feel? I have moments of it. Of course I have moments of it. There are certain times when I'm in an audition where usually I feel terrible about myself in an audition. But there's some days when I'm in an audition and I'm like, I just crushed that. I really nailed that. Or like I'll do a show and I'll feel really good. But these are all
based on external
validating
stuff.
factors. Or like even dating. I went last Valentine's Day, so almost a year ago, Valentine's Day this year, me and my friend Darren went to a speed dating event. It was like a gay speed dating event. And I walked out of that being like, I'm going to get as many matches as I can. I'm going to crush this. So then I became like a perfectionist about speed dating. And I oddly felt like good enough walking out of that because I was like, I just fucking crushed that speed dating event.
Crushed it.
Because, and not in an arrogant way, it was like and nothing to do with physical appearance. It's that we as entertainers are constantly having to navigate different personalities all across the board.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I was able to walk into this speed dating event and be like, okay, you're an introvert, you want me to drive this conversation. Or you're an overtalker and you want me to listen and validate you. Or and then also had to keep track of who I am and what I was. And so in a weird way, I felt good enough being a chameleon in a situation like that. A weird space that like I found validating, but it was just interesting.
There's two things that stick out for me there. The first one is walking into a situation with a positive mindset does wonders for me now.
Oh yeah.
Going in and deciding to have fun and telling myself like you can decide to have a bad time or you can decide to have a good time. Yeah. And like you've done plenty of the deciding to have a bad time in your life. So make the decision. And it takes, sometimes it takes a lot to make that decision and to execute it, but deciding to have a good time or deciding to have a positive mindset about something feels like one of the tools I've been using a lot lately. But the other thing about being a chameleon is again back to this like unworthiness thing of like I cannot show up as myself as a whole. Yeah, I have to contort and change colors and be who you want me to be so that you are happy. And it's people pleasing and it's it's a survival tactic that got you through many years of your life that is backfiring a little now.
Very much so.
But it's hard. It's so hard when this tool that you used for so many years that worked so well, of like, if I don't make waves or if I become who you want me to be, you won't make fun of me, you won't ask too many questions, you won't do this or that, then becomes the reason that you can't show up as your full self or feel uncomfortable or feel like if I show up as my full self, I will be rejected, which is also, you know, we're doing our daily Brene Brown, but we're hardwired for social connection. And we are like, as a species, as animals, we need group acceptance. If you didn't have group acceptance back in the caveman days, then you didn't have access to food and fire and community and protection.
Yeah.
So it's in our bones to want to be accepted by a group. But I think so much of it's just I think everyone struggles with this in different ways.
Yeah.
I think everyone kind of has their own little flavor of unworthiness, you know, and how it shows up. Where
are you feeling it most recently?
Most recently,
what's the rawest version of I'm not good enough at the moment?
It's with comedy right now for sure. I think it's because I'm working through a lot of this between physically. I'm in the process of freezing my eggs right now, which has brought up a lot of my old medical trauma, the sexual abuse stuff. Like I'm navigating a lot of that. I don't feel particularly like funny or energized or like in a creative phase. And I feel like I'm hitting these marks in comedy of like, well, I've been doing it for this amount of years, or I should have more followers, or I should be funnier. I should be able to come up with jokes quicker. Excuse me. But I'm doing a lot of comparison. I'm doing a lot of this person is, I feel right now like I don't get it. Like something, it's like something isn't clicking for me that clicks for everyone else around me.
I think about that all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, why is this working so well for other people, but I just can't figure it out?
Yeah. Or figuring it out takes 10 times as long.
10 times as long, or like, why am I not worthy enough or good enough for it to come easily my way?
Yes.
Like, why do I have to work so hard for this XYZ thing that other people just kind of waltz into the room and are like,
cool, here it is.
Everything's great. I got the confidence. Like, everything's amazing and things work out. And as we know, that's not accurate. That's like a misrepresentation. Everyone's going through something. But there are a lot of people who things just generally come a bit easier to them. And like, wonderful. I'm happy that
and
other people are experiencing that, but I use it as a mirror to reflect against myself and being like, why are you not good enough that it's not easy for you?
And it's also so important to remember that one aspect of their life might be easier for them.
For sure.
And that there are other, that's the thing that kind of grounds me right now is when I look at people who I'm like, you're doing it, it looks so easy for you. Why is it so easy for you? I look at their whole self and I'm like, all right, not in like and you're not doing well in that area, but in like everyone's got their stuff that's just, everyone's got their stuff.
Of course.
And it's, I'm trying to focus right now on not comparing myself to others, which is so hard. We have a whole comparison episode, we had a whole comparison episode. It's really hard for me, but the unworthiness piece of it, I think, is at the root. I think that's my biggest task right now is really and truly, because there's the difference between I could write you an essay on why I'm worthy, but I don't know if I believe it yet. Yeah. I'm way closer now than I was even a year ago, even 2 years ago. Like that's the thing that I have to keep reminding myself too, is like, I am making steady, it might be slow, but I'm making steady progress with self-love, worthiness, acceptance, all that stuff. Literally in the last 2 weeks of even just recording that episode that we did where I was able to talk about this thing that has been sitting on me for 3 decades is like, it's just, for me, I'm having to like, I'm trying to only compare where I am right now to where I used to be, rather than compare where I am to where other people are.
That's the healthy version of comparison.
Yeah.
That's what it should be.
Trying is the operative word, but
I do try as well to do that, to kind of frame my moments of growth. You work really hard on self-improvement. I work really hard on self-improvement. We both go to therapy. We're both introspective and self-reflective. And yeah, I do have certain moments where I'm like, oh wow, like I'm really proud of, Drew right now at 38 compared to Drew at 34 compared to Drew at 21. There's big moments of growth. And I had a really interesting conversation with a dear friend the other night, Harris. Hi, Harris.
Hi. Obsessed.
And it was I'm not going to talk about the full details of a certain work situation lately that you are aware of, but he said a comment to me that really rang true. He said, your only responsibility right now as an adult is to protect younger Drew who didn't know any better. And we talk a lot about, younger, like inner child and thinking of that. But for some reason, phrasing it, I've heard this a million times from my therapist. We've read it in books. All of our favorite thought leaders talk about this. But for some reason, the way he said it.
I wonder if the word protect was.
Maybe, yeah.
Because that sticks out to me.
Exactly.
I've been seeing a lot of 6-year-old Alex lately. And going back to that and being like, you're okay.
Yeah.
Like, you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have you.
Yeah.
Adult version has you. Which is really healing. Yeah.
It is. Because I think I've been seeing some like, I think the frame of what I was talking about him with was seeing patterns of abuse in my life and where I allow people to treat me a certain way.
Yeah.
And, the way that I let men treat me when I'm dating, and then the way that, maybe someone in the workforce will treat me, or even friends. But actually, no, not my friends. My friends are amazing.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate for that. But
yes, they are.
But in particular, my stepfather was like very abusive as a kid. Not physically, mentally. Verbally.
What kind of, in what way? Like what would be?
He was very, very sick.
Yeah.
He was a heroin addict, but he was in recovery.
Okay.
But also his body was just deteriorating from years and years and years of drug use.
Yeah.
And his body was in so much pain, he had to retire. When he was like way too young, he retired at like 50. Okay. So he was just like depressed at home, but he took all of his unwell anger and frustration out on me. I was like the target of that. So
and I'll say like it. I know what you're saying. I understand when you say he was really sick as a preface, but like there are also a lot of sick people who don't do that.
Treat that way.
And
of course.
When you're a kid, it just hits so much harder because you don't have any of the protection up yet.
And that's what's been a toss up for me lately, is being like, okay, I experienced that as a kid and I went through it, and then now I'm experiencing it now in another situation that makes me feel vulnerable, and it just feels like the same pattern from when I was a kid. But then I talked about it with my therapist and I talked about it with Harris, and the way I have to flip it is reminding myself that like I am not, 11 to 18-year-old Drew right now. Like I'm 38-year-old Drew. I've done my work, and so now I actually do have the authority and autonomy, or the ability to right now say like, actually, I don't want to accept this behavior right now, the way that little Drew could. So thinking it is like, oh, I'm allowing this person or these people in my life right now say, you are not enough, you're bad, or you suck at this or whatever. It's not many people, but it's just happening with a few certain things. And I have the power to push back and say, actually, I don't stand up for this because I want to defend little 11-year-old Drew who got called a piece of shit every single day. And I want to protect him now. It's like, it's my responsibility to protect him. And one of the cases that Harris and I were talking about was with dating. And it was, seeing patterns of the ways that I engage with men and let them treat me, I guess, in their, I don't know, immature patterns. And then usually, it's usually, oh gosh, I don't know. This I'm like, should I talk about it or not? Because are they going to listen? But actually, no. It's not even about one person in particular, but there has been a pattern the last few years since my last full-time boyfriend where I'm getting in with someone and I'm dating them and we're going on multiple dates. Things are going really, really well. They're maybe particularly love bomby and giving me lots of compliments and you're amazing and this is the best and blah, 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 blah. Sexual compatibility is great. Like things are going well. And then like I'm led to believe over months of time that I'm like, oh, we're going down this path. And then there's an abrupt start of ghosting. It's like once we kind of hit past the threshold of we're getting to know each other, and now this is becoming more intimate of a thing, and you need to commit a little bit more, then they start to ghost or pull back or drop out on communication. And then after the ghosting happens, and then I address the ghosting because I'm at a point now where I'm like, I don't want to fucking deal with the ghosting anymore. Either say you're not interested or move forward. I try to say like, okay, cool. Like, what's happening here? Are we doing this or are we not? If you're not interested, all good, babe. But like, I just need to know what's happening because the in-between is agonizing. And all I'm thinking is, I'm not enough. They're not texting me because I'm not enough. And I don't want to go down that path anymore. So.
But it does sound like you're switching into that.
I am. And that's what Harris said. He was like, you have the power in this moment. It was somebody who had issued an apology, and it was a very heartfelt apology. And I'm really grateful that they did. But it was also framed in the light of, would you give me another chance? But simultaneously, I don't know if I'm ready for a relationship, which is like a deep contradiction there. Like, give me a chance. I'm not ready. And typically I would have been like, you know, we're all in it, you know, we're all going through lots of stuff. Like, I'm such a, I learned from abuse as a young age that like, you know, all good. It's me. It's my fault. Yeah, I'll do whatever you need. And now I think the pattern, it was the first time that I was like, you know what? I don't think it would serve me to move forward with this. I was like, I appreciate where you're at. Thank you for finally communicating that. I appreciate the apology. But I don't want to move forward with this because even though I really, really, really liked this guy, and I think he's so charming and funny and handsome and smart and wonderful.
Of course.
But it was kind of like I actually have the power here to say, I don't want to hold on to this cycle. And I also don't want to keep reinforcing the like, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough.
Totally.
I don't know. So it was a big moment. It was a big shift.
It's a really big moment. And I think it's also not just one moment ever. It's like building blocks of moments. Right? I always think of the phrase that courage is a muscle, right? So like the more that you use it, the stronger it gets. And like that one step you took of saying like, thank you. And it wasn't, what I like also is that like, I think we equate like saying no to things as like, it's bad, it's imploding, there's a bad blood here. It's like, no, you can very simply say, this is not the behavior I'm accepting anymore, and best of luck, and move on. And like that, and that's, they did you wrong. You know what I mean? Like they made the mistake, so it's okay. Or they made you feel that way. They made you feel undervalued. So it's like, the energy for next year is not like, or for, you know, moving forward is like you pour energy into people who refill your cup, not to the people who are doing things that make you feel less than or unworthy or question it. I think that's the thing. And with like dating or anything, anytime you're questioning like, am I good enough? Like, then that's not it. That's not it. I've been in situations on both sides of this, and there's, you know, like recently it's like, oh, I have no question. I'm like, oh, this is easy. I'm not even questioning whether or not this person is interested. And it's like, that's such a green flag. Because when you're sitting there and wondering like, oh, did I say it? What do they?
Yeah. Too many exclamation points in the text. Or I texted back too fast. Like when it clicks and the green flags are there, it clicks.
Yeah. It's so easy. But I do think stuff like that begets more courageous acts, right? Like just that, proving that you can do that thing is going to start paving the way for you to continue to do that. And also keeping in mind that like it is a process, and sometimes you backslide. Like sometimes you do the right
steps forward, one step back.
And give yourself grace for that. Like that's, I think with all my self-work stuff that I've been doing the last few years, like my biggest takeaway is like, it's not a straight up. It's like up and then
Stock
down
up,
and then up a bunch and then down a little and then here and then back down there. Like the important thing is just forward movement and giving yourself in those pit moments the grace to be like, whoopsies. I fell.
Because I'm slipping back all the time, especially with the worthiness and not feeling good enough. And
that's when worthiness really like cooks too. When you're doing well and then you slip into a hole, it comes back like with a vengeance, where it's like, see, I told you.
Yes.
I told you you're not good enough.
That inner voice.
Like, and those are the moments where you have to, like, I've just been in the practice of literally just like mantras, just telling myself I love you. Like just forcing positive words back into my mind rather than, because the negative words are going to come in there anyways. Like, I just know that they're such a part of me, you know, but the undoing of it is holding space. And I think Elizabeth Gilbert,
my favorite.
She's amazing. She had this great quote about, she was like, some of the most like balanced and grounded people I know hold space for all the parts of themselves. So they hold space for the kind parts and the selfish parts, and they hold space for the fearful parts and the excited parts and the bitter parts and the happy. Like, we're not one thing all the time. We are many things. And Rumi has this great poem too, The Guest House. It's just about welcoming in every emotion. Just welcome all of them in, hold space for all of it, and like, but don't let any one of them, especially the negative ones, don't let any one of them really like sit in there, which is so hard when you spent a lifetime of letting them just live.
Oh yeah, they live there, and it's gonna take me a lifetime of like undoing them, and they just keep popping up all the time. I feel like a lot of these conversations are similar. The rejection episode, the comparison episode.
Well, because they're all
coexist.
intertwined.
Yeah.
They're all intertwined. Rejection and comparison stem from self-worth. What you think of yourself, what you think you deserve, what you think.
You know what? Okay, to like devil's advocate, I feel like we're talking a lot of like positive things and like moments of growth, and I have to it's funny, like even when I have these conversations and I'm acknowledging the growth, my brain immediately wants to be like, yeah, but here's the negative thing, which is so funny and interesting, because it's like those thought patterns are still in there poking, being like, yeah, but you're still not good enough, or like blah blah blah. And I think like I'm always looking for, not intentionally, but like my brain is looking for moments to be like, see, you aren't good enough.
Confirmation bias.
Because confirmation bias, exactly. For instance, it's like I dated a guy a few years ago. Things are going well. It was like 3 months of like dating, really intense. Everything's amazing, perfect, blah, blah, blah. And then the ghosting happened. And then they're like, I'm just not in a space for a relationship. Like, I'm not available right now. Like, things are so busy. That motherfucker had a boyfriend that he now is like living with, like literally a month later. And I'm like, oh, babe, like you. And so like my brain goes to being like, see, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Like, why wasn't I good enough in that circumstance? Because it wasn't about you not being in a space for a relationship. You just weren't interested, right? I don't know. I'm poking and prodding at. I'm playing devil's advocate. Like, I don't know.
No,
Because
it
that's,
has
like,
nothing to do with
my
your
brain logics it
worthiness.
as being like, oh, well, no, like, I'm just simply not good
That's
enough. Or like, they weren't, like, I don't know. It's not the rational way to go, but that's where my brain goes.
You're also putting yourself in a position of, I'm not good enough for this person who's up here, without
which is, like,
playing
disproportionate.
without playing out like, who's to say you move into with this person and they are a disaster?
Oh, yeah,
and
of course.
And you're not compatible, and then now you've moved in with a person who you have to
For sure.
live with for a year. Like, I'm also of the mindset of like, what's meant for you will not pass you by. So
Agreed.
You know, all that stuff. But like, I think confirmation bias can start to change when you start. It goes back to the gratitude journaling.
What's that? Never heard of that.
It's so easy. There will always, when you're looking for the negative, there's always going to be reasons,
Of course,
to
of
affirm
course.
it, right?
Yeah.
So flip it. If you're going to make space to look for the negative, make an equal or greater amount of space for the positive. So start looking for reasons why you are good enough. Start looking for reasons why you are attractive, dateable, lovable. Like, I'll fucking start texting you every day. I'll do that every day. I'll give you a compliment of the day.
Thanks, babe.
Gratitude of the day.
Yes.
Because
No,
you are.
I have
It's
those
so,
moments.
which is
Yeah,
so
of
funny.
course.
And it is so funny because I think this happened. I look at you and I'm like, you're the star of everything. You're like, I'm like, this is like a smart, hilarious, kind, loving, like, stop. I mean, I want to date you. You're straight, right?
Do you want to date me?
I want to.
Oh my god.
And also your friends
You're
are
kind.
upset.
It's not.
Like,
It's not a fishing thing, but it's like.
I don't take it as that. I'm saying it because sometimes it's so hard for us to see who. I'm saying that.
I'm reading the wrong context clues is what it is.
Right.
It's like everything's out
Right.
there, and it's like there's so much confirmation
Right.
of where I am wonderful and I'm amazing. But also here's the other thing: I shouldn't be looking for external context
Yeah.
to validate me,
Right.
good or bad.
Look for
it
the
should be
internal.
the intrinsic. I love myself and I'm good enough because
look to your
of
younger
this.
self. Look to your younger
Yeah.
self for that
Who's
too.
so sweet.
Who's so sweet.
sweet.
You know what I have started to do is I have a picture of myself at 5 that I have hung up now that I just look at every day. So when I start to get mad at
absolutely have to
myself,
do
I'm
that.
like, why are you mad at her?
Yeah.
Like what did she do?
Maybe that'll be the YouTube cover thumbnail for this video. Is like
I love this.
our two little
faces.
our little Drew and little Alex side by side.
Absolutely.
I love that. We're
Absolutely.
gonna do that.
Okay, well, we
Yeah.
do have to wrap up because it's time. This was too
time.
short of an episode.
Short episode, but it's a lot of recurring themes that we've
A
already
lot of
talked
recurring
about. But I know
themes, and I
it's
think we
still
keep coming
haunting.
back to it. We
Yeah.
keep coming back to it because it's not something that's
It's
like
still on my
solvable
mind.
overnight.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna start texting you all the good things about yourself every
I'll
day.
text you back as well.
Great. No, I don't. I don't need it.
I am good enough.
I am good enough.
I'm fucking
No,
fierce.
text me. Tell me how good I am.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in again. This is a short one, short and sweet.
Short and sweet, but we'll be back for more worthiness chats, no doubt.
Oh wait, before
Tragic
we go, you know what
Kingdom.
I want to talk about? really, really quick. Did you ever read those spooky story books like when we were kids? It's called like Real Scary
Real Scary
Stories or
Stories,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Remember the story about the girl with the bandana and her head falls off?
There's something
This
I
whole
wanna
episode I've been
tell
thinking
you.
about you. Because you've worn 3 bandanas today.
It's because I haven't changed.
It's because
clothes.
your head is gonna fall off.
My head is gonna
No, I
fall
love the
off.
bandanas, but every single time I see the bandana, I'm like, oh, it's the scary stories. She's the girl with the
I
bandana.
am. My head is unattached.
You're dead. Your head's
I'm
falling
dead.
off. Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
literally dead.
On that note, we love you all. Thank you. Like,
Bye.
follow, subscribe. Stay in the mud. We love you. Bye.
Get out of the mud.
Get out of the mud? I don't know.
Get out.